And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We speak about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. And also, if you want to be helpful, please share this or any of the videos on YouTube. That would be really, really helpful because their algorithms will help get it out. More people will see it. We'll be able to pass this unbelievably important information to many more people and help grow the community. So I had an interesting call a couple of weeks ago from a man who's been helping his adult child. He gave him a sizable amount of money to buy an apartment, and now all of a sudden it's being built, and he's having to pay a mortgage. The mortgage payments are starting to hit in, I think, another month or 6 weeks, something like that. And he still hasn't taken possession of the apartment because it's being built. The mortgage is sizable. And the child asked the father if he could help him out, right? He already gave him a sizable, trust me, a sizable amount of money, and he wants more money or more monthly help to help carry the mortgage. So the person asked me for advice. So I started squirming because on the one hand, each person can deal with their kids however they want to. At some point, they've got to grow up, right? And they can't depend on their parents. They've got to do it on their own. So I sort of punted and I said, well, first ask the child, what was their plan, right? This is not a surprise. Not a surprise that the mortgage was going to hit, right? Did they purposely way overbuy because they felt that the parent was going to bail them out? Was that like going in what the strategy was? Because if that's the case, that's just sick. And I would say, tell the kids, sorry, Charlie, sell the apartment, okay? That's just gross. The other question I said to ask is find out how much actually the person can handle in terms of a mortgage payment. And then if it's something close, so if you want to help out for a defined time period, that might be okay. Okay, I didn't say it is okay. It might be okay. If the person says, well, we can handle, $1,000 a month, and the mortgage is $4,500 a month, let's say. Well, that goes back to my initial point where their plan was to come back to you all the time, and they overbought, and they should sell. But I was thinking about this. The whole issue is, how can we make our kids, our adult children, become financially independent? This is a big topic in my house, as I like to joke around to some of my children who are in school or whatever, that they should start paying rent because they're still in the house. It is a joke, right? You're still allowed to live for rent free. I don't know how much longer, but that's the situation for now. But I came across an article on CNBC, and they say like this: these days, many young adults do not become financially independent until they are well into their 20s. To be sure, inflation has made it even harder for those just starting out. I hate when they do things like that. My editorial here, okay? There's been inflation in the past and people were still financially independent, okay? Just keep that in mind. Stop making excuses. But in addition to soaring food and housing costs, millennials and Gen Z face financial challenges their parents did not as young adults. On top of carrying larger student loan balances, their wages are lower than their parents' earnings when they were in their 20s and 30s. What? Okay, People are coming out and making serious bank these days, especially if they're like in good fields like high tech or what have you. Student loan balances, well, again, that's a decision that you made to go to a school that you couldn't afford, right? All of these things that this article starts out as the issue are all things, I've spoken about this recently in the past, all things that you control, okay? Nobody said you have to get into huge student loan debt, right? You can work, and if you're single and you're complaining and you're not making so much in your first job after college, so take another job as well and supplement your income. Stop whining and stop complaining, okay? More than half of Gen Zers and millennials are still financially dependent on their parents, although 2/3 say they don't feel good about it. Well, so do something about it, seriously. I can't stand things like that. While older generations are more likely to think their kids should be completely financially independent by the time they turn 21, young adults say that's a good age to start paying some of their own expenses, such as credit card bills and travel costs, right? There's definitely a disconnect between parents and adult children. I love that, okay? Anyway, so there's a couple of tips here to help make your kids financially independent. Now, I would say, if you want my own tip, okay, leave CNBC for a second, let them just cut them, okay? You're right, you got a job, you're on your own, okay? You want to come over and take some food from the fridge, that's occasionally, that's cool. But find a place. If you need to rent, right, you're going to rent an apartment. Well, if you don't have enough coming in, it's your first job, take some roommates, okay? There are ways to make things work. Just don't complain, right? Take a second job, deliver pizzas at night. I don't know. Okay, now you might want to make a deal with your parents, whatever it is, but there are certainly ways that once you finish university that you can become financially independent. You don't have to be dependent on your parents, okay? You just don't have to be. Okay, so there are their tips, okay? Focus on yourself. For starters, your debts and obligations should take priority before providing any financial support. Further, you should also save for your future by contributing to retirement accounts again, so you're in a better position to help adult offspring. This is from Derek Miser, who's an advisor and president of Miser Wealth Partners in Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay, obviously you should focus on yourself. You have to, right? You have to deal with yourself first. You have to make sure you have enough money to retire comfortably, okay, before you pay a penny to anybody else, including your children, right? You have to take care of yourself first. He says, avoid giving in instead alone. It's okay to financially help your children, but don't just give money out without expecting payment back. Consider loaning money instead, he said, and put a repayment plan in place in writing to set the parameters. Interesting idea. Then he says, help children build healthy credit. I'm going to skip that because they shouldn't be in credit. If you can't afford something, don't pay for it. Okay, don't buy it. Introduce your children to financial experts. When you visit your financial, tax, or accounting advisor, consider bringing your child and encourage them to participate in the conversation, he says. This can help them understand how money works and what they can expect to be dealing with in the future. What I would say, I don't know that you need to do that. It's an interesting idea. Have them read. Okay, stay off of TikTok, stay away from get-rich-quick schemes and videos, but have them start reading about personal finance. There are plenty of normal websites. They can get it here, right? We talk about this stuff every week in video form, write articles. There's a lot of information out there, and have them read and educate themselves. You, your whole life, have been an example for your children with money, just so you know that, right? If they see you frivolously spending and going into debt, there's a very good chance that the same thing's gonna happen with them. If they see you being responsible with money, saving, only buying things you can afford, right? That kind of thing, chances are they're gonna turn out pretty well with their money. That's just sort of as an overview, but there are plenty of resources out there where they can start learning. And you know what? They're going to make mistakes, and that's good, right? You dust yourself, make a mistake, dust yourself off, and pick yourself up, and on you go, right? Lesson learned. And that happens with all of us, right? We've all made stupid money mistakes in the past, but we want to learn. Just like we've made mistakes in everything in life, you learn from those mistakes and you go forward. You don't have to have your parents financially bail you out. You've been tuning in to the Aaron Katzman Show. We speak about, well, your life, your money, and your investments. If you like this, please hit the like button below and consider sharing this as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.